Hey Matt, you got a minute?
Can't wait till next week. I'm busy researching the filmography of Tig. It's taking all my time and concentration.
It's kind of important, man.
Fine, what is it?
I'm having trouble coming up with an idea for this week's skit. I don't have anything.
You come in here at 4:30 on a Friday to tell me you don't have any ideas?
Yeah, I'm really sorry.
You better be sorry. I'm gonna give you a buddy beating for this.
Please, not again.
Mike, you better have this skit ready and on my desk first thing Monday morning. No matter what. I don't care if you have to stay here all weekend.
But, Matt, come on. I was planning on seeing Escape from Earth this weekend. John Carpenter and Kurt Russell personally invited me to the showing. I gotta go. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
You're not going anywhere. You're gonna stay here and finish that sketch or you're fired.
Somehow I always knew it would end like this. Well, goodbye, cruel jaws. Wait a minute. What's this? This is the movie we're supposed to watch for this week. All-Star Superman. Wait a minute. That gives me an idea.
Monday morning, 8 a.m. My favorite part of the week. Hello, what's this? Mike! Get in here at once!
What is it?
I don't like this sketch.
You don't?
I love it. I give it a 9. I give it a 9.95.
What is that Star Wars original trilogy?
The special
edition.
edition.
The special edition. Which one? It's like, I'm assuming it's the one that came out of VHS where it's like the silver and gold.
Mm-hmm.
Silver and gold. Scientists who sent their only son to fucking live off of exploding Krypton wig. To live. He lived off of an exploding Krypton. He's like, It's quite the opposite. He would die. So, this is episode 203. All-Star Superman and Justice League episode Hereafter, parts 1 and 2. I
Let's
guess
do this.
Before we get too far into it, what'd you think about this when I nominated this? You're probably like, fuck.
I was like, great, comic books again.
Yeah.
No, I was not familiar with either of them. Like, I know there's all kinds of these animated
Stories and
films
stuff,
that have been coming
yeah.
out over the years, and I've never seen any of them, so curious to get your thoughts.
Yeah. We had watched previously Batman Mask of the Phantasm, which is in the same universe as the Justice League. So this takes place obviously after that. Obviously, duh. And the All-Star Superman is a self-contained story based off of Grant Morrison's graphic novel comic run of the same name. Put out the poll. Not a shock. Not really anybody has seen. I mean, I guess it's not. It was kind of a big deal back in the day for like, not a big. I don't know. And it's like it's a big deal. It's like, yeah, a big deal among like nerds, I guess. But Justice League Hereafter, like Justice League when it came on, that show was pretty popular. I think for people that were big into like DC stuff, but like that's kind of not. as a DC fan, you can't really hold your head super high these days. But then All-Star Superman had a 50-50 on YouTube, and no one claimed to have seen it on Instagram. So
Interesting.
it's what it is.
Hey, now you're an All-Star Superman now.
He's like, he's just doing that, and everyone's like, what is he doing? But yeah, I guess we'll start with Justice League.
Cool.
It's ran on Cartoon Network through its life cycle until they kind of did Justice League Unlimited, which is when they expanded from the original Justice League members and started adding in like other people and stuff too, to the Watchtower to conquer bigger threats and stuff. So
yeah, like I'd never seen any of these, so I was constantly surprised with what I was seeing.
Right,
I don't follow like any of the comics
people,
or shows and stuff, so even when the fact that they were in space, I was like, wait, what?
yeah. Well, like
space station now. Whoa.
When I sent you that text, which was like, no shit, it was like, you're gonna see characters you've never seen before, and it's like, well, that's every movie if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Like, Matt, you may experience things you haven't experienced before. You're like, what? What the fuck?
But it didn't hold my hand either through
a
lot of it, so which is preferable.
Yeah, these especially start. I mean, especially when it gets into like Justice League Unlimited, like they start to tell. Like it was on Cartoon Network, but like you can make a case that it's not quite like the levels of like adult animated stuff, but it was, there was stories about death and other stuff that happens, and like where it's like, okay, this is for they're showing this to kids, but at the same time it's like
older kids,
right? But I think that's kind of a stupid thing to be like, kids can't handle the truth and stuff, and that the reality of life, because I think when you're more truthful, it's like helps someone in the long run rather than, unless it's old Saint Nick. Because he's true.
He's true.
He's true. But yeah, we've got
not. He's real. He's true. Look, Santa. It's Bigfoot. He's true.
Superman he's true. He stands for truth, realness. So yeah.
Yeah.
We've got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, the Martian Manhunter, John Jones, Hawk Girl, the Flash. Those are the founding members of the Justice League, or as they fucking like shorten it to the JL. I'm like, they call Green Lantern GL sometimes. One dude does.
Really?
And I'm like, back then I was like, yeah, and I watched it again. I'm like, saying it. But this is cool because Green Lantern in this is not Hal Jordan. He's like, one of the other Green Lanterns that like came along and stuff like that. So it's kind of, I think this is what most people know him as, like the I forget what his name is. Played by Phil Lamar, but like he's, a lot of these characters have like what's it called, like growth over the show and stuff like that. So
that's cool.
We've got, of course, our boy Clancy Brown.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
Lex Luthor. He's like, that's, I mean, obviously, like, Highlander and other stuff we've talked about on here, Buckaroo Banzai. But like for me, I was just like growing up like, holy shit, fucking who is this guy? It's like Lex Luthor. But he's so good, he's known to multiple generations, because now he's known as Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. To fucking like pretty much everybody, I would assume, that like
I didn't
grew
know
up. Did you grow the fuck up? Did you catch a couple of surprise voices in here?
No, I honestly didn't look up the
Michael
cast.
Dorn, Worf,
I did notice
as
him.
Calabac.
Yeah.
Brad Garrett as Lobo, aka everyone's favorite brother on Everybody Loves Raymond.
And my favorite, Krang.
Krang, yeah. That's, they brought back Ephraim Zimbalist as Alfred from the cartoon. He was still alive at this point.
Nice touch.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess before we really get into, any further into it, what did you think about the story? Because I've seen this like a bunch of times, so it's not like anything that...
Of all the villains that killed Superman, I didn't expect it to be a doll.
Oh, the toy man.
I was like, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That like send like that is like kills him
Yeah.
or whatever.
I was like, of all the villains out there, really, is that little dude? But I was surprised.
I like how everybody like instantly accepted it, except for like Batman. But I'm like, really? But anybody that kind of stood out to you as far as like characters or villains or anything that you were like, this is kind of an interesting, or just in general, you were like, huh.
I liked
there's so many in it. It's like,
yeah. When Superman went on his adventure,
yeah,
I liked the dude that he met with,
yeah,
the villain, but I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, he's like he's a standout. Like he's kind of like throughout the Superman and Batman stuff, and then he goes into Justice League and stuff like that. But
he was kind of like a godlike figure.
Yeah, he's
I thought that was cool.
He's just like a man, but like he doesn't have any powers, but his thing is that he is immortal. Like he can't be killed and he can't die. So like he was a caveman that like essentially saw like a meteor and went and slept by it, and then fucking became immortal because of it. His name is Vandal Savage.
Okay.
So like he's someone that like he's kind of like a vampire, but not you know what I mean, as far as like he lives forever kind of a deal. I think he's a character that like a character like that you have to not have superpowers other than being immortal, because you can't have him be like, otherwise he'd just be, you know, like unkillable and there'd be no consequences. This, it's like, you know, Superman can put him away, he can just be in jail forever, like literally. But like in this, he's like a villain, but then he like in the future he's come around, like after all these years I fucked up, you know.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I think that was this is one of the standout episodes from the original run of the Justice League, because of the whole thing with like, you think that he's dead, and then in the second half you find out that he actually just got sent to the future, and like Vandal Savage has like ruined the fucking orbit of everything, and the sun is now like is red now instead of yellow, so Superman has no powers. And it was just like, it's funny because towards, I think, like, yeah, the first part is like it's usual Justice League doing stuff fair. The really only standout for that is like Lobo showing up, who is normally like kind of a bad guy, to kind of be like, I'm gonna help you guys out and join the team and stuff, but he's like an asshole. And they're like, shit, I guess we have to take his help, because he was the only one that could really like stop like the Worf's character.
I liked Lobo.
Yeah. Yeah.
He reminded me of a character designed by like a fourth grader like
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's awesome. He drives a space motorcycle.
Yeah.
And there's always electric
He's
guitar
got
playing
a
whenever
vest.
he's
Yeah.
In this version, he kind of reminded me of Ben from Full Throttle with that huge
yeah,
chin.
for sure, yeah.
And the fact that he was a biker. But then I looked at some of the artwork from the actual comics.
Yeah.
And he looks awesome, dude.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like an evil rock star.
He's a little toned down on this, like, because like in the original comics he like killed his entire planet just like as something fun to do. So it was. So like, I didn't realize kind of an asshole.
Even from this, that he was really a villain, because that's what I wanted to ask you at the end. They're like, "You're not Justice League material," and I was like, "Why not?" Like all he did was help him.
Yeah, because he's like, I mean, all the collateral damage where he's fucking tossing all those cars up.
He loved the
fucking
violence.
Calabac or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like he's definitely toned down in this version. Like obviously he's not going around and killing anyone or anything like that, but like definitely, like when I heard that they were gonna like put him in the live action version, I was like, I'm excited, but I'm also like, you know, I guess we'll see how that goes, because I've really know him from this where he's like Brad Garrett voices him so well, but definitely in the comics, I mean, that's what's so good, is if like this was interesting enough for you to actually go look and see, you know, what he looked like. What the fuck does he look like?
And I wanted to see when he was introduced.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea.
Right.
It was like 83.
Right,
so
you're like,
around for a while.
Yeah.
And I liked that he called someone a wuss.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
I forgot, because I have seen these a lot, but there's parts of this that I kind of forget. Like, right after Toyman kills Superman, fucking Wonder Woman is going to kill him. And I was like, Jesus. She's like, I'm not going to fucking arrest you. I'm going to kill you. And Flash was like, What the fuck was with the name of the reporter?
Snubber Car? Like, what the fuck was that? That was like a generated name. I was like, huh?
Snubber. Didn't even know her.
It's... I always thought, like, so this part, I was like, yeah, you know, Lex or whatever comes to the funeral and stuff, and, you know, he's like, Lois is pissed at him, and then, like, I was like, I feel like this is totally out of character for Lex Luthor to be like, he'll miss him too. I was like, that was bullshit. Like, I don't know, like, because there's at no point in the show when he's just like, he's my friend, or like, you know, like,
yeah.
If anything, he's been. That'd be like if the. I could see like the Joker saying that about about Batman. I was about to say the Batman about Batman because like his whole thing is like he doesn't give a fuck unless Batman's around. But like Luthor is actively trying to be like do ridiculous shit, and Superman's always fucking with him. So I'm like, he's the victim.
Yeah.
It's like the scariest part was when the super bank clerk showed up and fucking stopped the villain. He's like, the police are coming, Lex, and I'm like, oh, it's a fucking nightmare.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
I.
You're no Superman. That's not what the ladies say. I was like, Jesus, dude. He agrees. It's like, what? Yeah, the whole thing about Batman in this is like he cannot accept that Superman's dead, and it's like whether it's because he doesn't think he is or because he doesn't want to think that he's dead. But like we said, like he just gets sent to the future.
I like seeing Superman drive a car. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's something that like I think like obviously when he was in Smallville, Kansas with his parents, he did it all the time when like he was out and about because obviously he's not going to be like, hey guys, flying around. But like, yeah, it's interesting to see because almost all the time you see him, like you said, like flying around and stuff like that, or like just walking as Clark Kent. It's not like, you know, it was definitely I think they did some stuff in this that was cool because like usually like Superman is like the character that can't be fucked with. I think this is about as close as they got to doing like the All-Star Superman in the fucking show. I feel like, at least. But I think since they diverted, I think it actually had a pretty good story with like, you know, like the part where like 30,000 years later freaking Vandal Savage is literally just the only human left alive, and he's like, kill me.
Yeah. I'm so bored.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is he's like, you have a time machine at one point, and he's like, I kind of forgot about it. And it's like, he just gets bored. He was going to leave Earth, and then he kind of like decided he deserved to be there, like, because of what he did, and it seems like he gets distracted easily and stuff like that because he has so much time. Because, I mean, obviously, for the normal person, they'd be like, most people would be like, man, it would be great to live, like, a long time because, you know, human lives can be kind of short, but then it's also, like, you look at something like that where it's, like, Vandal Savage is, like, at that point, like, dude, I can't fucking die. This sucks.
I'm ready.
Like, yeah. But there's no way. I'm assuming, like, what would happen? I guess if he got sent to, like, the sun, fucking he would just be burning up there forever. Like, he couldn't die, right?
Good question.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
We jump on a fucking one end of a seesaw and he fucking shoots straight up. I'm like, that's how it would work. So, yeah, pretty much he comes back and they're just like, you know. I thought the end of this was cool where, like, they change history and, like, Vandal, like, the people are starting to fade in and he's fading out. I was like, I've never seen that before where they, like, changed in a thing where they change history and, like, because usually it's, like, it creates a new timeline, but this was, like, literally he didn't exist and they did exist because they course corrected or whatever. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That was cool.
Look or whatever. I'm like, it's a cool look, help me. But, yeah.
Yeah, I liked all the action and, like, fighting and stuff. They've definitely upped the scale from, like, the Batman animated series.
Right.
From, like, whatever, 10 years before this or whatever, so that was cool.
What do you think about the intro, the weird CG of, like, Batman throwing... It was definitely of its time where Batman's throwing, like, a Batarang, and it's, like, literally full... Like, everything's full 3D. This was, like, something, like, from the intro to, like, Full Throttle or something, or even maybe Grim Fandango or something, where it's, like, back then you're like, holy shit.
Computer
and
animation.
Now you're like, like this intro is out of control, and then like watching it now, it's like, man, they make whole movies out of like this that look even better.
Yeah.
So, what do you think overall? It was just
I liked it. It was
you
enjoyable.
enjoyed it at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. It wasn't. I mean, not like I thought you would be like, this is the fucking worst shit ever, but like, you know,
Like, I know they're not going to actually kill Superman.
right? Yeah, I think
They
that's
came
the
as
thing.
close as you can get to
Right.
make it have some kind of stakes. So.
For sure, yeah. I think the thing that, like, definitely, like, later on in the Justice League Unlimited, they do kill characters off and stuff. So it's like, I think they knew that the show was kind of coming to an end, like, that whole thing. So it's like, let's start.
Have you read the comic arc of this?
Of,
Hereafter?
of Justice League, like, you mean, like, after they stopped making, like, the
No, I mean,
cartoon?
isn't this two-parter based off of the arc in the comics?
Not that I know of.
Oh, maybe I was thinking of
The All-Star Superman is.
Okay.
Which it sucks because I actually have the graphic novel, but I just never got around to reading the fucking graphic novel of All-Star Superman.
This would have been the perfect week.
I know. I should have just brought it with me and read it while we did the podcast.
Out loud.
I'm like, you're like, what'd you think? And I'm like,
This sucks.
oh, this page is okay. Oh, okay, this page. It's like, what? It's just a stretch of like Superman's like on one page and the next page he's flipping me off. I'm like, It's like, man. But yeah, I'm like, I won't continue to watch it. Yeah, I personally, for me, I like Justice League, obviously because I have the DVD. But like, Unlimited is like so much better.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Even the intro is like way better, but it's just kind of, it all builds up. I mean, they had Batman, they had Superman, and then they tied everything together in Justice League, and then they kind of just kept going further with it. They're going further with it.
I'd say more than anything else, it made me want to read a Lobo comic.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's I think like the biggest compliment for something like this is to make somebody interested in like.
I thought the character was super silly, but
Yeah.
in a way that appealed to me. So
Yeah, in the comics they had this thing where like they like changed how he looked and everybody hated it, and they were like, actually that's not real Lobo, and it was like a way for them to say that they didn't fuck up.
Retcon.
I was like, come on, dude. He looked like horrible. He looked like, I don't know, I'm trying to think, I'm trying to say what he looked like without offending people that have.
But he kind of looked like Slash if he took his top hat off and was evil looking.
Yeah, but like, and had like a mustache, and he had kind of like a goatee, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like
And
in the original, or in the fake Lobo, he looked like a fucking super skinny dude, and everybody was like, ugh. Anyway, so yeah, that's Justice League. Highly recommended by me. I mean, I've watched every episode multiple times,
Nice.
but I'll never watch it again.
Until now.
Yeah.
You're like, goodbye, my friend.
Yeah, I'm like, goodbye, everybody. I've got to go. So, are you ready to move on to All-Star Superman?
Yeah.
So, what, had you ever heard of this before?
No, I think the only way I've heard about like these animated films is I'll see reviews of them pop up on like
Because your dumbass will bring them up.
like Blu-ray sites and
Yeah.
stuff. And I've noticed they always get very good reviews.
Yeah, they always, like, most of them, I mean, not all of them are super great, but, like, for a while there, they were, like, they would take, like, a graphic novel or, like, a big event and make it into, like, an animated feature. And a lot of these definitely at the time, I mean, when all this stuff was coming out, they were, like, knocking out of the park. I mean, these
Have you seen all of them?
For the most part, I don't think I've seen like some of the newer ones. They did like the Killing Joke, and it was horrible because they like I don't know if you've heard about that.
I know about the comic.
But like they added in some shit where like Batman and Batgirl have sex, and everybody was like, dude, this is fucking stupid, like, because it's like it just boils her character down to like a sex object, and it's like, that's dumb. I'm like,
I was going to say, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I should.
well, I mean,
I'm like, this I got to see.
she's like, I touched myself. The Joker's like, what the fuck's going on? But that one.
But I wanted to ask
Yeah,
if
go
you've
ahead.
seen most of them. Is this one that stood out more than like? I wanted to know if this one stood out more,
I think
or
this
why
is,
you chose this
I
one.
think this is like the penultimate like Superman story for me, because it shows like it gets down to the core of what Superman is and what he represents. Not necessarily
that he'll kill prisoners and let the guards
right, yeah, but not necessarily that like he isn't it like, you know, an invulnerable, invincible like superhero, but like that, you know, he's a person that has like dreams just like everyone else, and like what his time really means to not only himself but the world.
That's cool.
There's definitely a lot of other ones that are really good too, but like this is, I'd have to go back and look at all of them, but I remember this one definitely standing out as like,
okay,
you know, this one doesn't have as many like known villains. Like, I mean, they have like Samson and freaking like Atlas in this, which is kind of like, you know, that's more like early Superman stuff. But I mean, they have Lex and like Parasite, which are like, you know, known and stuff like that. There's a couple off the wall stuff here and there, but at the end of the day, it's not really about like the villains. It's about like Superman and like what he decides to do in his final days.
Yeah, I wondered why it was called All-Star Superman.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly,
because like there were more stars in this than
right.
This.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why. To tell you the truth,
why
they call
he's
it
just
that
an all-star in this one.
Yeah, in the comic or whatever. Maybe the guy was like eating at Denny's or something, and he's like all-star fucking special.
Grand Slam Superman.
Yeah, Grand Slam Superman.
Rudy Tooty, fresh and soupy.
He's like. So that was one thing I always wondered about. It's like, why did they call that one ice cream like Superman ice cream? It's like,
oh yeah,
just because it's just colored.
Was
it's
it
like,
red, white, and blue? Maybe.
Yeah, but it's like it's just colored. It's like, okay, like, I mean, I think it has different flavors, but it's not like Neapolitan, right? Or it's like what's Neapolitan's like chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. It's like,
yeah, I don't know.
I guess vanilla. And I was just thinking of that randomly when we were out.
Did the Superman one have gum in it? What was the one that had like gum balls in it? You remember that?
I know that there were like bars, like the ice cream bars back in the day, and everybody had those. But I know there was a Superman one, but there were like tons of different ones. You know, like the Turtles ones and the Mario ones. But they always were like the eyes are the fucking gum and stuff like that. Yeah, I think probably Superman is one of the most, if not the most, recognizable characters in the world. I would assume. I don't think that he's as like beloved now as he was. Like, you know, his heyday was kind of around when he first came out and like a little bit after that. But like, think over the time, he's definitely got a rap for being like, oh, he's kind of a boring character. He's too wholesome. He's kind of like, you know, just whatever and stuff like that. So like, over time, definitely like, you know, because ever since he pretty much created like superheroes, like there's been like so many characters that have been created and the spin on that and all kinds of stuff. So speaking of stars, we've got James Denton as Superman, Christina Hendricks as Lois Lane, Anthony LaPaglia as Lex Luthor, and the special guest star Edward Asner as Perry White. Definitely not playing his character from Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yeah, definitely.
He literally just goes back into the mode.
Yeah.
He calls like Lex Luthor a son of a bitch at one point. I was like, fair enough, I guess.
I liked when he was that ghost on X-Files. Remember that episode?
When he was Johnny's fucking dad and fucking stepdad in Cobra Kai in one of the seasons.
Oh yeah, that's right. Seasons. He was like super old.
He's like, I fucking beat your ass, mini me. And I was like, man. I guess he didn't beat him. He was like, why didn't you love me? And I was just like, who knows? But yeah, Ed Asner. Yeah. Also, what, he's Santa Claus in Elf, right?
I think so.
Yeah. He's had a long career.
R.I.P.
In Ultimates and All-Star Superman. I wouldn't say that. It's a welcome.
He collected
voice.
a paycheck for All-Star Superman.
He did a great job in this.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was fine.
I wasn't like, what the fuck is he doing? But he was definitely playing like his character.
There was only one, like, I thought the voice acting was good in all these except for one character. I was like, what? It was Lex Luthor's niece.
Oh, Yeah.
Like, her energy was not matching any, like, the rest of the scenario. I was like, dude, this is horrible. Try again.
She was like, I guess it was weird because her character was goth, but she was not kind. You know what I mean? She looked like she was dressing like she was goth, but she didn't have, like, the energy of a Wednesday Addams or something. Yeah. But then she was like, it was weird. It's like her character, I guess I never really thought about it, but it was like, there's this part where they're like, she's gonna kill she's gonna kill her fucking uncle. She's gonna kill, Lois Lane and, fucking, what's his name? Jimmy Olsen. And they're like, we're gonna interview you. And she's like, maybe I won't kill you. And I was like, what?
Well, there was one part where like a nuclear event is happening, and she's like, I don't know whether to be concerned or worried. I was like,
she didn't give a fuck.
Take
like,
two.
Maybe that's just.
But no other complaints besides her.
I don't really know anything about that character, so maybe that's part of the course for that character. In no other instance have I ever heard of a Lex Luthor having a niece, because it's like, I don't even like.
And he makes her dress like a skank.
Well, he makes her. I don't know if he makes her do anything. He's like fucking dressed like a slut. In the comics, like, or in like Smallville with like John Glover as Lionel Luthor, Lex Luthor's father. There's a part where they talk about how like his mom and his brother are like dead, so it's like, but his brother is like was younger than him, so it's like, I guess maybe in the comics there's a part in which Lex Luthor has a sister or brother, unless he like adopted this person. But I don't really understand why Lex Luthor would adopt somebody, because he's kind of a narcissist, just like Lex Luger. He's the narcissus. I always did that back in the day. I always said like Lex Luger instead of Lex Luthor, or vice versa. It's like, holy shit, Lex Luthor's putting the rack on Hulk Hogan. It's like, no, it's Lex Luger. So at the beginning,
like a Jack Nicholson situation.
Yeah, I always do that same thing. Well, not always. I'm not like, hey Matt, how you doing? It's Lex Luthor. It's fucking, I already fucked up. Jack Nicholson. I'm like, hey Matt, it's Lex Luthor, and I just walk into your house and you're like, dude, it's 4 a.m. You're like, I have to go to work. Fuck you. But I don't know. Was there anything else at the beginning before we even, I guess, kind of get into the whole thing of this? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Good enough. So we kind of.
I do have more questions.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'll have no answers. I'm just kidding. Yeah, they do like a quick recap of Superman's origins in this, but it's cool because they do it like in a way like everyone watching this knows. Well, not everybody, but even like about Superman and stuff like that. But like, it's not needed to like show along like, hey, he, but it's like it's almost kind of like a poem or a haiku, talking about like, from an unknown voice until you find out later it's Lex Luthor saying this because of his voice or whatever, about like dying planet, desperate scientist, last hope, kindly couple, Superman. And it's like, that is like the perfect way if you're going to do like a recap, because it's like, because like that's almost like fan service anyway, because like the people watching this, like, how many people don't know the origins of Superman that are going to go see like a Superman thing, and how many people just in general don't know? It's like it's so well ingrained in pop culture.
How many times do we need to see Batman's parents killed?
Joker's like 1 billion. He's like, I love this. He's like, this shit's my jam. But yeah, I guess. Do you have any questions at the beginning here already, or?
Well,
like,
I thought it was cool that Clark finally revealed his secret identity.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Get that out of the way.
That's something that, like, in a lot of like better media by this point, they've already kind of like done, like, in like the Superman and Lois show or whatever that was on the CW, that was really good. Like, at that point, they're already like married and have kids.
Oh, really?
There's like, other stuff where like later on in like Unlimited, like Lois and like Superman and Lois are together. Like, she already knows. Like, I think for me, like, for this to be like a self-contained story, I think like having him reveal his secret identity inside the story and not already like her knowing, that works, because it's like just another highlight you can add to the reel of like, oh, he revealed his intentions are, well, I guess he did, because he revealed who he was, and then he was just like, hey, come with me to the Fortress of Solitude, and, try to pick up this key. He's just like, I'm just flexing on your ass. That's like fucking 80 tons. And I'm like, okay, dude, Jesus. He was like,
He's like, watch me whip.
Yeah.
Watch me,
He takes off his glasses and his fucking hair is instantly like curls. I'm like, what? Like a fucking piece of ice cream. Fucking Egon style. It's like a fucking tube. What'd you think about? I was like, I forgot about this part where they're going to the sun, and like that one dude got like fucking controlled by Lex Luthor and like started messing everything up. And it's like when Lex says stuff, it's like, oh, he's controlling him, but then you see the guy say it, and it's like, Jesus, this is like horrifying.
Yeah.
But like, it ends up being like a what's it called? Like kind of like a trick or a trap to like overexpose Superman's cells to the sun.
He
so
sentenced Superman to death.
Right. He essentially gets like sun. He gets his cells are exploding. He said, because he gets like overcharged, like a battery or something like that.
It reminded me of Godzilla versus Destroyer, where he's melting down, and at the end he turns into a nuclear explosion. But he has to get his affairs in order before he melts down.
Yeah, his affairs in order. Exactly the same. He's like
Superman ripped off Godzilla.
Godzilla like reveals that he's fucking Godzilla to his fucking wife. He's like, I was Godzilla this whole time. She's like, normal human size, like, oh my god, I didn't know. But he's just flexing here at this point. He's like, hey, I'm fucking doing 200 quintillion tons, 3 times my normal record. I could do more. And I was like, okay, dude, we know you're strong. He's like, yeah. It's weird because, like, I mean, Lex gets arrested, but it's kind of like, I don't know, did you think that maybe something was up when he, like, purposely just let him... Well, not purposely, but he, like, got arrested. Like, or did you think he was crazy at that point? Like, he had
No, I knew that...
You knew that he was planning something? Yeah. Because, like, he actually, in this, is smart, and they convey him as smart in this, unlike fucking a lot of the live-action ones, like, they don't really do that. They're just kind of like, like, why the fuck does he care about land? Like, I love Gene Hackman, but the whole thing with him, and it was just like, all I want to do is get more land. I was like, this is the dumbest shit.
You totally skipped over the part where they meet Lizard Men.
No, I mean, we haven't even gotten close to that part yet. I feel like I didn't watch
My notes are out of order.
Yeah. Your first note is that, and your last note is like, kindly couple. Superman. Like, what? How safe do you think that would be for Superman to fly someone in a car? I guess that would depend on how fast they were going, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think anything he does is safe.
Yeah.
Until he died.
Yeah! Because it was safe for him. Or not him, for everyone else. It's not safe for him at all. He's like, I'm dying. It's safe. It's like, what? Yeah, I remember watching one of those snarky videos back in the day where it was like, if Superman tried to like save somebody when they were falling and he caught them, they would like fucking get ripped in half. And I was like, what? Like, that's not how it would work. Like, I mean, I would assume that...
Also, why would they put that in a story? Like, I hate
right, well, it also, like, it's like, this is... Of all the things, like, that's the thing that should be realistic. That he's going to try to save somebody, and then it would fucking kill them instantly. Like, no shit, dude. If someone's... It'd be like them hitting the ground, but, like, obviously, people can't fucking fly or, like, shoot lasers out of their eyes. It's like, okay. I liked all the stuff in the fortress. I forgot about that, where he talks about, like, I can see my future descendants in the time telescope, and, you know, he's feeding this, like, sun eater, like, stars on his cosmic... It's just a bunch of, like, it's kind of the stuff you see in the Batcave. You're like, what the fuck is all this for? Like, this is just random stuff he has in his, like, and he's, like, restoring, like, the what's it called? Like Titanic or something at one point, and it's just like, it's just all this stuff that you see that you're like, they give you just tiny little things, you know, which I always think that's cool in movies, just in general. Like when you go into like the RPD or whatever, not the RPD, the Raccoon Police Department, the BPRD for like Hellboy, and it's like all this like random cool stuff that's like going on. I like how the first movie you don't see anything really cool because they don't have the budget. It's literally just a warehouse in like fucking Russia somewhere that they have, and then fucking in the second one they get all this shit going on Men in Black style. Anyway,
yeah, I like that stuff too, but maybe I missed it, but I didn't understand why Lois became paranoid.
Yeah, I was actually about to talk about that. Like, what did you think when that first happened? You were like, what the fuck's going on? Like, is she, like, were you thinking she was like she actually, I mean, I'm assuming you probably were like, Superman's not going to try anything to fuck with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, it didn't really work as far as like, you being with the person like, oh my god, Superman's fucking gonna kill her. Yeah, it's like, they kind of reveal later on, like, Superman talks about how, like, later on, like, when that happened, like, there was some, like, I guess, nerve agent or something that was in that room that they were working on with the DNA that, like, she inhaled. Because, like, when that door was, like, open, it, like, some, like, cold air came out, and I guess that's what she inhaled.
Yeah, I missed that, because I didn't understand why she acted like that.
Yeah.
But that makes sense.
I'm taking a drink. Recover your thoughts.
Don't tell Baby Bink.
Recover your thoughts about shit. I don't have any more notes. Help me. Lord, fucking help me. Yes, she's like, you fucking lied to my ass for all these years. And then she's like, I'm going to write a hit piece on him. And I'm just like, Jesus. That's when she gets, like, paranoid, but it's like... I don't know why I randomly wrote this down, but, like, she's doing this and writing this and frantically writing this down and then drinking, and she's like, I'm thirsty. And I'm like, who has ever said that out loud?
Me right now. I'm thirsty.
I was going to say, I was waiting for you to actually say it. I thought it was cool when he gave her, like, her present, and it was, like, the thing to be able to, like, become like him without, like, the weaknesses of, like, you know, kryptonite or anything like that for a day.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
Gene Hackman was right. Most people would kill to be treated like a god, if only for a moment.
For 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
I wouldn't kill.
How about a whole day?
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but it's being treated like a god, not becoming a god, so it's even more worthless. It's like, I would kill, like, Lex Luthor did kill to fucking become a god.
It's true.
Well, he didn't kill to become a god, he became a god and then killed, but, like, yeah, maybe he's subscribing to the Gene Hackman rules. Gene Hackman rules. I'm subscribing to the Gene Hackman rules. Do you have anything else to say for yourself?
I want to talk about these lizard men.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought that part was weird.
Yeah.
And
definitely
didn't really... It was like an episode. I don't know how it really contributed to the story. It was kind of like a... Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was like I didn't expect to see that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this is just the movie is an amalgamation of all the weird stuff that happens to Superman, but it's condensed into like a day or a couple days, you know, for like his last moments. So of course, like a lot of, you know, that's a pretty weird thing to happen for Superman. It's just another day. To the audience, it's supposed to be like, what the fuck is this? So like when these like dinosaur people fucking come out of the ground and start attacking. I mean, it's a twofold, because it's not only that, but like then you have these two new characters that you might not have seen before, you know, that are kind of up there with Superman, that are time traveling gods, I guess, that are beating the fuck out of these lizard guys, Samson and fucking what was his name, Atlas, and it's like they're just. It's like another thing where you're like, what the fuck? Who are these people? Like, you know, they're just as strong as Superman, or claim to be. And, yeah, it's definitely like...
So that happened, and then they didn't come back for the rest of the movie, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing that happened.
Yeah, I don't think any of the stuff's supposed to be an ongoing thing. I think the only thing that's really an ongoing threat is Superman's, like, nemesis, Lex Luthor. So I think that's supposed to be... Because they move from one thing to the next, because then they go to... you know, they take the dinosaur men, and then freaking... And then down below, and then, like, the Ultra Sphinx shows up to take something that they stole.
Ultra Sphinx.
Yeah, and then freaking, like... A bunch of other random stuff keeps happening, and it's all, like, stuff that Superman would normally do.
It's got lots of
would be like a big event, but it all happens at the end of his life. Like, he's like, before you die, you know, you solve the unsolvable, you know, fucking question from the Ultra Sphinx or whatever, and I was just like, huh? I was like, okay. What happens when the irresistible force meets the immovable object? I'm like, do you want the answer? Go watch WrestleMania 3, brother. When Hulk Hogan slammed that stinky giant Andre in front of 5 million people, dude.
Dude, nice.
But the correct answer was they surrender. And the guy's like, okay, Lois is not alive or dead. She, like, was existing in a state of, like, being alive and dead. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, her face was like, I was like, this is fucked up, dude. But
it's pretty cool.
They lived. I think the arm wrestling part, especially when I first saw this, was one that kind of stood. I mean, a lot of ridiculous stuff happens. It's really cool. Like, holy shit, Superman's doing this or that. Because Superman, it depends. Like, definitely in the Justice League show, he's scaled down power wise. In this show, in the movie, he's scaled up due to the, you know, last hurrah kind of deal. But like him arm wrestling two people at the same time and breaking both their arms essentially, it was like, dude, this was like the ultimate.
I had to rewind that part and watch it again.
Because it like explodes the fucking island they're on. I was like,
a dude that looks exactly like Grimace escapes from jail.
Exactly? I don't know if I would agree with that, but I should.
I thought that was one of the dumber designs in this, like that monster or whatever. I was like, seriously?
It's kind of like horrifying, but it's also not. It's like there are parts of it you're like, holy shit, but then it's also like,
It's like something out of Ghostbusters or something.
Yeah. Which if I saw that in real life, I wouldn't be like, that's goofy. I'd be like, get me the fuck out of here.
But I thought it was, I know I joked about it, but did you notice, like, he moved the guards, or, like, the police to freedom? Mm-hmm. And he froze the prisoners, and they all were killed. It's like Superman chose to kill those guys, kind of.
Not really. They could have not done crimes.
Well, he could. You went in a different direction.
You were like... Gotcha.
But I thought that was...
No, yeah, I guess I never really thought about that.
I thought he was not supposed to kill people, but he saved some of them and then didn't save others.
Well, there's also, like, towards the end of this, he kills that one thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like...
Was there uproar about that when this came out? Because I know everyone's all, oh...
I don't think so.
Like, I never liked that rule in the first place. Like, Superman should be able to do whatever he wants.
It's stupid.
Kill who he wants to kill, slay who he wants to slay.
I mean, I think I mean, if you have a fucking character that just decides to have no morals and just goes out and kills people that's that powerful, then you can definitely go into that route, but he's a villain at that point. He's not really a hero.
There's exceptions to every rule.
That's true.
But I was just curious if there was outrage
like,
about this.
But him just going out and killing people for, like, committing regular crimes is kind of like, that's not really a hero
Turns into
thing.
Judge Dredd.
Right. Because there is definitely, like, versions of that, like the Injustice storyline or, like, other worlds they've done where, like, Superman, like, you know, Lois Lane gets killed and then by the Joker, and then he fucking slowly but surely is, like, all crime, you know, he kills, like, all Batman's villains, he kills, like, all the villains, and then which there could be a case to be made that not necessarily was the worst thing ever, but like there are also things where it's like, you know, you kind of question him and you are killed. Like he's killed, you know, fucking superheroes for trying to like go against his authoritarian, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's more so not that like the rule, like he shouldn't be able to do whatever he wants because he kind of do whatever he wants, but like once you cross that line, it's like I think that's the main reason why Batman in the comics sometimes they try not to have him really do that either. Is like it's like once you cross that line, what stops you from just fucking killing people that don't deserve fucking to be killed?
Yeah. Unlike
the Punisher, like who is just like, I don't know. I don't think he kills anybody that doesn't deserve to be killed because they're all criminals, right? But I'm not like it's like at what point do you say, well, that's the line? So
that's the question.
Yeah, but I think that's mainly the reason. I don't think it's more so a morality kind of deal. Like at what point should you stop? Like you know, as a jaywalker, or fucking is that a killable offense or you know? I think that's more of the thing. Not like that people are like he shouldn't fucking kill anybody. I mean, I don't know. It's weird because it also goes along with his like. You know, at what point, you know, because if Superman starts killing people, everybody's fucked because it's like nobody can stop him.
He's like,
yeah. He's like,
but that Grimace monster I thought was weak, and he was running around going like power, power, and I was like, what is this, a Saturday morning cartoon? Like this is horrible.
He was looking
that was really my only complaint, because I didn't like that part. They could have done better. Is all I'm saying.
In your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Which I agree with. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Parasite's look in this.
It just looks stupid.
In the cartoon, he's like...
basic.
Kind of just a regular dude. In this, I think he's... I don't know. I don't know if he's like basic. I think he's more so just like... They turn him into like less of a person and more of like a monster in this, and it's like he's not like he can't like really think other than that. Like also like the thing I never got even when I watched it the first time was like I think maybe like the one thing that less than like how he looks, even though like you know it's like why would you so like if somebody walks by and they have like just a lot of power, he can just grow and escape. Like, why not just put a fucking box where he can't, like a shield in front of him where he can't, like a two-way mirror? Because like that seemed to be the issue, not that fucking, you know, because Parasite has to touch somebody to like get, like to extract power from him. Like he can't just like leech it by like. You know, inhaling it or fucking, you know, so it was like, he saw Clark Kent, who is Superman, so he was like, holy shit! And he fucking started, like, getting more powerful to get out, and I was like, what are the precautions here? Like, why the fuck do you... I think one thing that I also thought was kind of funny is before that, there was a scene where they had Metallo in a cell, and he was lifting weights, and he's a robot.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, robots can't fucking get stronger by lifting weights. So that, like, I was like, what? He's like, yeah. I was like, huh?
Maybe he was just lubing up his
spend that time trying to
joints.
Figure out how to escape. It's like, how can Parasite escape that needs contact to get more power, but Metallo, who's a robot, not just break the fucking window? This movie sucks. Fuck it. No, that was the one thing I always had a problem with more than anything was like, how the fuck did he even escape? He just he's like, fuck it, I actually have more power, I'm out. I'm like, what?
Daddy, I'm escaping.
Right. That time Superman was just like you said, saving everybody, and then the criminals, he was like,
it's like, I sentence you to death.
Maybe he's just like, fuck it, I tried, but he didn't really.
It was weird. It's not called attention to, just in the very background, you see them all get wiped out. And I was like, wait a minute.
I think the thing is also, like, he put his secret identity to Lex Luthor before the fucking lives of other people.
was weird.
They're like, "Oh, man," and he's like, "I have to pretend that I'm that I'm Clark Kent. I can't be seen doing this." It's like, why not? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess also at the same time, I mean, like, I don't think there's ever a part where you see him touch Parasite, because if Parasite touches him, it's like game over.
Really?
Yeah. Because if he gets his power, it's like Superman's fucked. Well, everyone's fucked, not just he's like Superman. He's like, bye, and he just walks out of the fucking. But like, that's his whole thing. Is like if he touches somebody, he can suck anyone's power, like their energy. So like, he would fucking be destroyed. I like the whole thing with Clark Kent, like acting like a complete fucking loser and a klutz and stuff like that. Like, there's been things where they say, like, in the comics that he actually at one point, when he, like, before he did the Secret Identity, took like a bunch of acting classes to try to like become like unrecognizable and stuff like that. And I feel like he does a good job here. I think like it's always a hard line to toe where it's just like, oh, come on, he just isn't wearing glasses. But it's like, if somebody acted like Clark Kent and then there was somebody like Superman, most people would never even think to connect the two, because they, like, people don't think that people have, like, they would go out of their way to act a certain way and then be Superman, you know what I mean? Like, I think maybe Lex would figure it out. That's, I think, one thing that's a little, I don't know, a little on the edge. It's like...
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's funny.
Yeah. But I think
that way.
It works
yeah.
As a character. I think the thing about Superman is it's like opposite, whereas like Batman, like Bruce Wayne is like at this point the secret identity, and Batman's pretty much who he is. And it's the opposite for Superman, where like he'd rather be Clark Kent all the time, but he takes up the mantle of Superman to like protect everyone.
So with great power comes great responsibility.
That's true. As Lex Luthor once said. What'd you think about fucking Lex Luthor being able to run on a treadmill full speed while holding fucking weights? I was like, and using them. I was like, this guy's like probably the strongest human in the world. What the fuck? Like, to be able to, because those weren't small weights. Like, fucking running and doing, like, I'm like, what?
Let's give it a try.
Yeah. Like, rip. I think that would be really hard.
I'd rather eat bugles off a treadmill than...
You eat a weight off a treadmill, you're like...
I like the fascist Kryptonians that showed up.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
guys are cool. Cool characters.
They seem to do that every once in a while. Like, if it's not in the movies, it's like, in the cartoons where there's always another set of Kryptonians that somehow... I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if there was a spacefaring species and, like, they had all this technology, not all of them would probably be on their home planet, you know what I mean, when it exploded. But they show up, but Superman finds they pretty much have like fucking Kryptonian cancer because they passed through a field and it was too late for them to get like the stuff out, so he sends them into the Phantom Zone, which it's like, I thought that was really cool, like that, obviously they treated him like shit. But then he, like, while they're pretty much on their deathbed, he sends them into, like, the Phantom Zone where they'll, like, live forever, without being fucked up, but they can never leave, kind of a thing. But it was, like, a 180 redemption, even though they didn't deserve it.
He's like, I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you leave.
He's like, shake that ass, girl. I thought it was... when Clark's leaving the prison and he's just like, it's such a waste. You and Superman could have been friends or whatever. And Lex is like, it doesn't matter. If I die, at least he dies first. And I was just like, at this point, Lex is just like, because the whole thing is like, he's essentially had like a major midlife crisis. And it's like, he's not dying and I am. So I'm going to fucking kill his ass.
Yeah. Up the stakes.
He's like, I'm killing you. Also, I like that like Superman isn't like he's never pissed about this. He's just kind of like accepted. It's also to me it was implied that like with his increased like strength comes like it's way more like increased intelligence and stuff like that, because like it's like when Lex Luthor like has the serum, he's just like, holy shit, this is how he lives all the time, you know, like I can't believe this, and that he essentially becomes like good.
Yeah,
because
that was my favorite part of the whole thing.
Yeah, mine too, because it's like it's one of those things where it's like
he basically he gets the meaning of life,
right? And it's kind of like the same thing with Vandal Savage, where like people that are, you know, like he's out for power, he's out for money, he's out for himself, but then once he kind of sees the whole picture and sees what really matters, he's just like, you know, something that Superman had been trying to tell him the whole time. He's like, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Now, in this, they imply, obviously, Superman had the added benefit, too, of, like, being more compassionate because he was more intelligent, which seems sometimes is the case, you know, if you kind of understand and are more open. But, like, in this, it's like, yeah, he's more open, he's more intelligent, so he understands. And not that Lex is stupid, but he used that for, you know, his own personal gain.
Mm-hmm.
I like the part at the end where he's just like, you know, like if you weren't here, I could have saved everything. And he's like, if it would have mattered to you, you would have done it years ago. And he's like, you're right. And he's like essentially like defeated, and he's not like pissed about it. He's just like, you're right. I completely fucked everyone over and myself.
I get it now.
Yeah.
Too little, too late.
Yeah. He's like, Superman's like, fuck you.
I love the Superman white costume. I was like, whoa.
Oh, yeah, when he
awesome.
goes up to fight, like, the, whatever the fuck it was, the star that was trying to take the fucking
Superman killed an alien.
Yeah, he was like, it was like a robot alien, kind of. I don't know, it was like, okay, I don't really know anything Solaris about that thing. But, like, he kills the fucking Sun Eater, and I was like, I forgot about that part. He was like, what the fuck?
I thought that when he, like, brought that creature out, I was like, yeah.
Yeah. And then it, like,
and he was killed.
Blows up just like a balloon. But he's just like, mercy! And he's like, we do not train to be merciful here. You see Solaris on the sun. He's your enemy. He fucking... he's like, I don't think I have any left. And I was like, Jesus! He was like, diplomatic immunity to his ass. I like that he put like a flower on his dad's grave that like will never wither from like Krypton. I was like, he's essentially putting his affairs in order. He sees his mom and he's just like,
boss move.
Yeah, see ya. Yeah, I liked his costume that like essentially shielded from the red sun, because it was like so that he could actually do something. He's like, do something!
We don't know the real reason, so he could sell more action figures.
Yeah, he's like... They did that in the comic. He's like, we wrote this for the one-shot graphic novel so we could sell toys. It's like, yeah, when he like flies into the sun and it like sets the sun from blue to yellow, I was just like, whoa. It's like, he's like, I'm in heaven. What'd you think about Lex Luthor finally getting his superpower fight?
I thought part of it was cool, but
it was mainly
first,
it was
when
mainly
it was
just
like,
SmackDown.
Wow, two dudes floating over a city shooting beams at each other. Never seen this before. Like,
yeah.
But then it was cool when they went in the subway and he threw him through that subway car. I was like, that's cool.
I mean, a lot of that's all Superman origins anyway, so they're essentially doing their own thing. I'm gonna he said we do our own thing. He's like, do whatever the hell we want. But yeah, it wasn't like, to me it wasn't like this fight is the shit, like it's awesome. It was mainly a demonstration to show like, you know, Lex Luthor is finally getting what he wants to put one over on Superman, and even then he's not really winning. It's just like, you know, he's showing his ass to the world. I saw everything. I saw how to save the world. He's like, you fucked up. You fucked up. He turned into pure energy. He's like, Lois, I'm turning into pure energy. Help me. Yeah. She's like, oh. After the Yellow Sun has given so much to Superman, he gives back in his own way. Lex Luthor, yeah. Lois is like, I do not believe he's dead. And that's the end. No, what'd she say? She's like, he's up there fixing the sun.
Yeah. One day he'll return.
Fucking Oscar Isaac shows up in the next one. Somehow Superman has returned. It's like, what? What do you mean somehow?
I'm glad he didn't come back. I'm glad they ended it.
Yeah, it's so like in Superman Returns. You remember that, or have you seen it? I forget.
I saw it back when it came out.
Yeah, me too.
Like 20 years
I've
ago.
seen it like once. At the end of that one, they're like, Superman's fucked. Like they try to like. Well, they don't say that. Like all these doctors are trying to work on him, and all the needles are bending and shit. And then like you think he's dead, and then like one of the last frames, Lois goes to like look at him in his hospital bed, and like he's gone, and it's like they just couldn't like be like this is the end kind of thing. And I don't know, like I was just kind of like, I think they want to do All-Star Superman there, but they just didn't
cop out.
Well, they didn't want to shut the door on a fucking possible sequel. It's like, come on, dude. But like
we can agree Kevin Spacey is the best Lex Luthor.
He's the worst, in my opinion. Did you actually like him? I don't think he's the worst. I just thought he was like...
My memory, and I've only seen him both once, was Jesse Eisenberg was way worse.
Oh yeah, for sure. I forgot about him.
He was very miscast, and he was bad in that movie.
Yeah. I didn't like him in that. I think that like Kevin Spacey was just trying to do, because it's supposed to have come after like Superman 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
So it's like he's supposed to be like the Lex Luthor or like the Gene Hackman one, but it's like I don't really know what the fuck. He's just kind of like trying to create a Kryptonian island to sell more land, and I was like, dude, this is the dumbest shit. I thought the guy that played Superman was pretty good, Brandon Routh. But like other than that, it was just kind of like forgettable.
Yeah,
it was definitely not unforgettable. Like, wait, what? So at the end, this guy, Dr. Leo Quinton, I don't really know anything about this guy, but he's kind of like Space Willy Wonka or something. He's like, instead of chocolate, he makes like engineered people. So I was like, okay. But like he essentially takes his last like confessional, because he's like, why don't you escape? And he's just like, can't you do that? And he's like, if I wanted to, I would, but I'm just gonna be killed. And I was like, okay. And essentially, it's just like, before I died, I was able to like, create Superman's like fucking DNA, like by like whatever. While he was super smart, like ultra smart, and he gave it to him, so he gave him the notes so he could be like, yeah, all you need to do is essentially find a willing human. And it's like, okay, I guess Lois is gonna get pregnant and fucking have a super child, which they did in Superman Returns, which I was like, okay.
Samuel Jackson's like, have you heard of the Superman's DNA initiative?
Have you ever heard of the Superman impregnating you initiative? It's like, what? Yeah. What'd you think overall? You're like, worst movie I've ever seen.
Enjoyed them both. They're definitely 7.95s for me. I was entertained.
Nice. So good you ranked the show. I like it.
How about you?
What do you think?
9.95. I know this is your jam, so I mean that's.
Did you? Was there anything while you were watching it you wish you would have seen more of?
Lobo. Yeah. And his ongoing adventures.
Were you upset he wasn't in the All-Star?
Yeah, I wanted more All-Stars in my All-Star Superman. Like Lobo.
I thought it was... So I guess I never really thought about this until now, but I guess since we talked about the Justice League, but like... Superman dies, but like you never hear anything about any other superheroes, so is it, I guess maybe in this world like he's the only superhero. I know that's like a thing in some of the comics where they're not all one connected thing, but like because you got to know if like obviously like Superman was dying, Batman would be there like at some point. So I'm assuming they just were like, this is Superman's time to shine.
Yeah, he's the All-Star.
He's like He points at his belt buckle. He's like, kind of listened to some of the commentary. It was kind of interesting. They had Bruce Timm, who is well known. I mean, we kind of have talked about him before. He's the person whose art style is kind of the thing for Justice League Justice League, Batman, Unlimited, like Superman, that art style, and heading all that stuff up and kind of spearheading the animated DC stuff. And Grant Morrison, who wrote the original All-Star comics. So they were doing the commentary.
That's cool.
Essentially, like, Grant Morrison was talking about how, like, he was like, why'd you do this? Bruce Timm asked him, like, why did you decide to put in some of the other, like, the, you know, not hokier, but, like, stuff like Samson and, like, some of the other stuff where, like, you know, this isn't, like, the all-stars of, like, you know, Superman. Like, there's not, like, all his villains aren't really showcased here. Like, and he's like, well, like, you know, back in the day when Superman was very popular, those were kind of the stories they were telling, where it wasn't necessarily, like, every week they had, like, you know, Parasite or, like, Lex Luthor or, like, this or that. It was more so, like stories people could, like, relate to about just, like, how people felt. And, like, that's why he wanted to write a story about how, like, what would it be like for, like, someone that had all the power in the world to be like, I'm dying and stuff like that. Like, and I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just kind of listened to it. I was taking notes, but then I just kind of ended up listening to it and forgetting to take notes because it was just interesting to hear them both talk about their ideals on, you know, superheroes. I think it was funny because Grant, I might have to look more into Grant Morrison, because he was like, they were talking about, what's your favorite, like, superhero movies? And they were like, actually, mine are animated, and one of them is Disney's Hercules. And I was just like, holy shit, dude, that's, I think, one of my favorites. So
nice.
I was like, which...
Surprising?
Yeah. I think it's one I definitely want to watch for the podcast at some point. I don't know if you've seen that one before or not, but definitely good stuff. But yeah, I'm glad that something that I like this much didn't end up giving you any troubles. I'm glad you weren't watching it being like, fuck.
Grr.
That one episode or that 1 week, you might want to do this by yourself. And I was like, oh shit, is he sick? It was worse. I'm like, it's worse that you don't like something than if you were very gravely ill.
Well, next week is going to be something we both like.
I'm going to beat your ass.
Because I want to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of one of your favorite picks of all time. Oh. Cobra Kai Week, Part 2.
Oh, shit.
With Shoot Fighter 2 and Hollow Point.
And what?
Hollow Point, starring Tig.
Dude.
So we got Shoot Fighter 2, the return of Billy Zabka.
Dude. Yeah, because last time it was, what, Kreese, and this time it's fucking Silver.
Yeah.
This is perfect. Oh, why?
No, it was Silver last time, too, because it was Ulterior Motives and Shoot Fighter 2. Right? Or maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah,
either way.
I don't think so.
It's Tig.
Shoot Fighter 2, and what was the other one?
Hollow Point.
Hollow Point. Hollow Point running around. I'm like, dude, man, make it grand. Oh, I could be wrong about that. Shit, maybe let me look it up real quick. All right.
Yeah, got a full few minutes. I gotta go get this shit set up. Anything else?
I think we did a good job. I liked it. I don't know. It was awesome to talk about. I was just worried that, you know, it wouldn't be well received. But since it was, I was happy.
Cool.
And I'm slappy.
Until next time.
Have a super day.
Bye.
Matt, I got some great news. I know we've had issues in the past with the skits. So that's why I called an agency, and they're sending somebody over to help me. An assistant, if you will.
I didn't like the sound of that.
Yeah, these skits are going to get done at record pace.
Way better.
Well, yeah, for my sake, I guess. He should be here any minute now.
Oh, cool.
I think I hear him now.
Since we're going to be working together, you can call me Lobo.
They aren't gone for good. They're just up there, fixing podcasts.
You better be sorry. I'm gonna give you a bloody beating for this.
Dude, this is fucking horrible. The fuck? You wrote this after I said it in like Universal Soldier. You were like, fuck that idiot. Matt.
Cool.
You got a minute? Yeah. I'm like, hey Matt, I got a minute? You're gonna beat my ass. Let's see, where were we? Shit, I think my office.
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I sound like it.
You're not going anywhere. You're gonna stay here and finish that sketch, or you're fired.
I'll just cut it right there.
Yeah. Alright, got you in frame.
So what do you want me to do here?
Just like roll around and be like, ah. I'll do that one more time because I moved the camera. That was hilarious. A new low for funny shots. Sorry.
Think about that.
Dude, it's gonna be awful.
I don't think I can put my phone in my mouth. It's infected. So dumb.